What's up, family? Welcome back to another video. So we in the building, right? Another live stream. I say another video. But we live. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to dissect. We got a lot to break down. I'm going to give my honest opinion and perspectives as always. And we just here to have a conversation and just kick it. And for those who rocking with me and those who are rocking with me and watching me along with the show, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for rocking with me. It's Friday, and we're going to get it in. So with no further ado, shall we talk about the first segment, shall we? So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the Air India plane crash, right? So we just witnessed another tragic plane crash, this time involving an Air India flight traveling from London to India. Over 240 souls were on board, and while investigations are still underway, this incident is raising much of a bigger question. And it makes me wonder, are plane crashes becoming more common? It's not just helicopters. It's not just small aircraft. We're talking about major commercial planes falling from the sky at a rate that should have all of us paying attention at this point. And it doesn't stop there, right? Because across the United States, cities are bracing for a new wave of protests. Some say it's about justice. But when videos start circulating of protesters paid to riot, you have to ask, is this really about change or it's about control? Meanwhile, we got ICE ramping up operations across major cities like Los Angeles and Chicago, sparking even more unrest. And agents are being assaulted, local leaders are pushing back, and criminals are slipping through the cracks while politicians argue on camera. So, this isn't just news, this is a pattern. And today we're here to unpack it all, the crash, the chaos, and the consequences. Because here's the truth. What you don't know can absolutely hurt you. Whether it's the type of plane you're boarding, the protest happening down your street, or the people your government is choosing not to deport. Ignorance isn't just risky anymore, it's dangerous. So buckle up, because in this show today, we digging into the facts they don't want you to question. Let's start with the facts, though. So the flight in question was operated by Air India. It was en route from London, United Kingdom, to India. And reports confirm that the aircraft, approximately 11 years old, not exactly brand new, but also not ancient by aviation standards. Check out the clip.
Bring in transportation reporter Sam Sweeney and ABC News contributor. Let's bring in transportation reporter Sam Sweeney and ABC News contributor and aviation analyst John Nance. Sam, any sense of what went wrong here?
Diane, it's way too early to speculate on this, but this was not a nosedive. This plane had just taken off. We've seen videos circulating on social media showing it almost looks like it's landing. It's coming down at roughly 500 feet per second on a glide scope, so not a nosedive. The landing gear was still down. This signifies some sort of loss of power. And of course, we now know that the captain did make some sort of a mayday call, but then that was it, and we did not hear what the issue may have been. So now investigators are going to rush to the scene. They're going to pull those black boxes, and they're going to go through the data. They're going to see what was going on that plane. What were the inputs? Where were the flaps? What were the engine power settings? Was there something that was put into the engine, into the computer system that was bad data? That maybe the engines simply didn't have enough power? Or was there some problem with the engines? Was this dual engine failure? That's what they need to figure out.
John, this is the first crash involving a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Is there anything that sticks out to you about that plane?
And the judge didn't say what the issue.
There's nothing in particular about the airplane because this has been a superlative machine ever since it came out of the factory. This is the first fatal accident, as you said. And Sam has it right when he's talking about the fact that there's a potential that this was a loss of engine power. That's what I see out of the videos that I've already taken a look at. You don't have an airplane doing what this one is doing and have power still on it. And that's one of the areas they're going to be looking at first.
Sam, what about the pilot? What do we know on that front?
Pilot had 8,200 hours of experience. This was an 11-year-old plane, and it was loaded with fuel. It was going from India to London Gatwick Airport. That's roughly a 10-hour flight, so you can imagine with all that fuel, and you have impact with the building, the explosion there. We don't know about the co-pilot yet. Or any of the passengers on board, what their conditions may be. But this, based on the images alone, is quite serious and would be difficult to survive.
Wow.
John, what are you watching for next here?
Basically, you rule nothing in, you rule nothing out at the beginning of this sort of an accident. But there are incredible indications here that we're going to be able to triangulate with a lot of different video. This is a different age than it was 10 or 20 years ago. We have actual video of crashes that can help anybody who's investigating it very, very profoundly.
Maggie, what are you listening for in terms of guidance on the emergency response underway right now?
Well, right now that emergency response is currently underway. We've heard from local police on the ground that they are dedicating all available resources. We've heard from Air India saying they're supporting in any way that we can. And the fact that now Prime Minister Modi has also been very outspoken, calling this a tragedy for the country, calling it heartbreaking. Can imagine that they're going to dedicate.
All right. I think I have another clip. So we're going to check out it on CNN because I like to get it from different angles, the information. Because as we know, from different angles, we get different perspective, and then we can have the conversation. So check it out.
Out of India this morning, where authorities there say a passenger. Breaking news out of India this morning, where authorities there say a passenger plane has crashed at an airport in Ahmedabad. This video shows heavy black smoke near the airport. Air India has confirmed that it was one of its planes that was traveling to London. We're going to bring in now CNN's Salma Abdelaziz. Salma, what details have you learned so far?
We just received word that there were 242 passengers and crew on board that flight, 242 souls. And when, of course, you look at these images, Adi, that we are looking at of this thick black smoke pluming from the site of the accident, of emergency crews rushing to that scene, it is very difficult to imagine if any of those 242 souls have survived this crash, which happened less than a minute after takeoff at only 625 feet. Of those 242 people on board, 169 are Indian nationals, 53 are British nationals, 1 Canadian national, and 7 are Portuguese nationals. That's according
All right. So that was CNN showing how fast the situation went from routine to catastrophic. The flight was using a Boeing 777, a wide-body jet, typically known for long-haul reliability. These jets are considered workhorses for international travel and have a strong safety record. That's why this crash is already drawing serious attention. And it's not just because of the loss of life, but because it happened in a situation where statistically it shouldn't have. And as of now, the investigation is ongoing, as we know, but early speculation includes mechanical malfunction, human error, or even extreme weather as possible contributing factors. And authorities have not ruled out any possibilities. That's just my opinion. But to be clear, no official cause has been determined, but this crash is different. It's part of a recent uptick in global aviation incidents. And not just small crashes either, because we've seen larger, more frequent failures involving aircraft that are certified, maintained, and supposedly safe. And it's no longer a rare thing now because it's beginning to feel like a trend with these planes crashing, because if planes crashing are really becoming frequent, are we just noticing them more? Because according to global aviation reports, and I did a little bit of research, the overall rate of plane crashes is still low compared to the total number of flights taken each day. And commercial aviation remains one of the safest forms of transportation. That's true, but here's what changed: the nature and impact of crashes that do occur. Because we're seeing more crashes involving larger aircraft with higher casualty counts, and these aren't just happening in remote areas. Incidents are showing up in Europe, North America, Asia, places with supposedly airtight safety regulations. And in the past 2 years, there's been a spike in incidents like mechanical failures, mid-flight, emergency landings, runway overruns, and unexpected engine shutdowns. And it's not just a coincidence. Could it be the factor of, in my opinion, maybe the post-pandemic pressure? During the vid shutdowns, thousands of planes were grounded. When the skies reopened, airlines rushed to get the planes flying again. I don't know, but and maybe that meant faster. This is all speculation in my opinion. Maybe that meant faster maintenance schedules and less time through inspections. In some cases, planes pushed pushed into service before being fully recertified. I don't know because and another factor I could think of is maybe pilot fatigue, right? Staff shortages, maybe veteran pilots retired or left the industry during the pandemic, and airlines scrambled to fill the gap with less experience hires. I don't know. And while fresh pilots are well trained, nothing replaces the instincts and judgment that comes from years in a cockpit. So I don't know. That's my opinion on it. I'm seeing a lot of these planes crashing more and more and more as they continue to come out with breaking news of so many things. And it's an unfortunate situation. And my condolences go out to the family. And if you add that to supply chain delays, which have made replacement parts harder to source, we had the whole China and Trump and the whole, because we get a lot of things in the USA that's made in China, as we know that Trump intention is to make things in America so we don't have to outsource so much. But look, man, some carriers have extended maintenance interviews or reuse components to keep up with demand, and that kind of shortcut could lead to daily consequences, right? So, yes, flying is statistically safe, but the frequency and the severity of these recent incidents is what I'm talking about is enough to raise red flags, family. And when we talk about safety, we have to ask. And I'm curious, does the age of an aircraft matter? Because most passengers don't even check what kind of plane they're boarding, even though they can check when they get their ticket and if they have an app. You know what I'm saying? Maybe on Delta and stuff like that. And my suggestion is maybe they should check the plane that they're boarding, right? Because that Air India plane, it was 11 years old. In aviation, that's middle age. Commercial aircraft are built to last 25 to 30 years if properly maintained. But just like cars, it's not just about age, it's about mileage and wear and tear, right? So I look at it like for us, and speaking to you guys, family, just having a conversation. Here's what I feel like we should do. You know what I'm saying? Like, know the aircraft type. Is it a Boeing 737 Max? And I ain't saying you got to be no pilot, no aircraft, no airplane expert where you like, yo, is this an Airbus A320? You know, but sites like Seat Guru and FlightAware let you look it up and using your flight numbers. So some models, maybe from what I'm looking at it, just looking at the sentiment of saving more lives so this unfortunate situation don't keep happening. Maybe some models or planes have better safety records than others where we need to start taking or being aware of the plane we about to get on before we get on it. And second, maybe I guess research the airlines, his safety history. And I know you guys might probably be like, yo, you dragging it. Not about to be looking at the plane, what type of plane and the history of the plane. Well, it's the same thing. I'm looking at it. The way I'm looking at it, from my opinion, is just so this situation, unfortunate situation, will happen and more lives don't get lost. You wouldn't get in a car that has wear and tear and it's not even suitable to be sustainable or feel safe enough getting in it based on how it's driving. So I'm looking at it. I'm taking that same concept on how we should board our planes more, so we can avoid this unfortunate situation. Now, and of course, it's out of our control, but I think we could do the best in getting the most knowledge we can possible before we board, is my point and suggestion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But that's my suggestion about the whole situation. Because like if you have a airline safety history with a spotty record when it comes to maintenance and pilot training, like I'm not about to get on that plane. I'm not about to do that. So, you know what I'm saying? Looking at the age and service history, the aircraft's an aircraft as a whole. Tools like airfleets.net, let you see how old the plane is, how many airlines have owned it, whether it had past incidents. A 25-year-old plane sold multiple times is worth a closer look, in my opinion. It's just like if you want to get a car that's been sold 25 times, you're going to be like, hold on, something wrong with this car. So and you don't want to put your life in jeopardy. And most of the time, from my opinion, well, from my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm always open to the possibility of being wrong in the comments. Most deaths in America are from car crashes versus airplanes. But if we can stop unfortunate situations and treat airplanes the same way we treat when we go check out and inspect a car before we get it off the lot and drive it on a daily basis, then why not? Right? For your own life's sake. We want to live as long as possible as we can, family, taking care of ourselves, being there for our loved ones. And life is short. This is a reminder that we don't know when our expiration date is going to be. We don't know when our time is going to be up. It's just an unfortunate situation that was out of 242 individuals' control. And to my knowledge, one person ended up surviving. They have came across because he ended up escaping out of the exit door before it landed somehow. I heard. So this isn't about fear. It's about just informed decisions. Where I'm getting at with this, most crashes don't come out of nowhere. There are signs, and if you know where to look, you might just avoid getting on the wrong flight at the wrong time. But while we're watching the skies, there's growing instability on the ground. And it's not just emotional, it's engineered. So from coast to coast, we could protect each other, or be more informative so we can look out for each other and save more lives. Now, I want to move on to the next segment of the show. I already talked about airplanes increasing globally, and it's starting to feel like that because if you really look at it, not only we had this incident in India Air, we had let me see all of the incidents of airplane crashes 2025. All right. So why I say that, airplane crashes are increasing is because in the USA, let me check it out. I say that because we had the plane crash when it came to, it was a Delta airline jet carrying 80 people crashed in Toronto, right? And that was a situation that happened. We had the plane which had departed Minneapolis, St. Paul International Airport in Minnesota, was carrying 76 passengers and 4 crew members, and that happened. That was still the Toronto situation. We had the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport situation, which 67 people got killed, and now we have this incident where we got the Air India, right? And then there have been 4 more deadly U.S. aviation disasters, which happened in a span of 2 weeks in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Alaska, and Arizona. Yet, the January 29th of this year, the crash in Washington killed 67 people with a fatal commercial aviation crash in the past 15 years. So if you look at it from January 29th, that was the Washington, D.C. crash. That was a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter carrying 3 people collided near the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport outside of Washington. After the plane deported from Wichita, Kansas, 67 people were killed. January 31st, Philadelphia, a small medical jet carrying a child patient crashed into a Philadelphia neighborhood. 7 people died, including all 6 on board, right? And another in a car on the ground. We got February 6th in Alaska. A small plane carrying 10 people crashed in Alaska. February 10th, we got Arizona. 2 private jets collided at Scottsdale Airport in Arizona, killing 1 person and injuring 4. So what I'm saying is, if we have 4 incidents within the span of 2 months of beginning of this year. And now we're looking at the India Air. And I know this is India Air and, Air India, and they're going to London. And you're like, wait, this is not in the USA. My point is, when it comes to Boeing and all these big airplane companies that manufacture these airplanes, majority of the time is from the USA, right? And it's concerning because when shall it stop? In my lifetime, 26 years being on this earth, I never have seen or saw or heard about so many airplane crashes increasing this much within a certain period of time within the same year. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm just being honest. That's just my opinion. That's very concerning. But look, we're gonna talk about where we're gonna go now. Where we're gonna go now? We're gonna talk about protests. So we got protests across America, okay? And from coast to coast, protests are flaring up. Familiar slogans, familiar rage, but something feels different. Videos are now showing people being paid to protest, literally handed cash to show up, wave signs, and stir the pot. Some are even bussed in from out of state, handed pre-made signs and coached on what to chant. So majority of these individuals that are going to these states don't even live in these communities that they're doing this protests. Violent protests, we could say, because based on these clips we're about to see, it don't look peaceful, and this isn't grassroots activism. It's performance funded, organized, and deployed like a political campaign. But check it out.
Protests against immigration raids in Los Angeles and spreading to other cities across the country. Matt Rivers is tracking it all from LA for us. Good morning to you, Matt.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. Things quiet for the moment here at the Federal Building in downtown Los Angeles. This overnight curfew that's been in place is clearly having an effect, but we are expecting more protests here later today, not only here in Los Angeles, but across the country.
Overnight protests spreading across the nation as President Trump's deportation efforts ramp up. In Seattle, flames near the Federal Building. Fireworks erupting into the crowd, police using mace pushing back against protesters. Here in Los Angeles, residents in their second night under curfew, protesters out after dark arrested. LAPD also seemingly detaining specific individuals from the crowd. Earlier in the day, mounted police appeared to almost trample people gathered outside City Hall as they tried to push them back. Demonstrations growing from coast to coast. Smoke filling the streets in Spokane, Washington, as protesters and police clash. The mayor there placing parts of their city under curfew. And in Indianapolis, at least 1,000 demonstrators peacefully marching out.
Y'all heard that? They said no justice, no peace. Don't that slogan sound familiar?
Peacefully marching outside the NBA Finals. Indianapolis, at least 1,000 demonstrators peacefully marching outside the NBA Fire City under curfew.
No justice, no peace. Y'all heard her? She said no justice, no peace. That sounds like the Black Lives Matter protest that occurred. Let's continue.
And in Indianapolis, at least 1,000 demonstrators peacefully marching outside the NBA Finals game. Our Mireya Villarreal on the scene in Texas, where things remain peaceful.
There are San Antonio police officers all around this downtown area. So far right now, things have been peaceful.
And in New York, hundreds of peaceful protesters taking to the streets. A coalition of local mayors in California calling for the ICE raids to end.
All of us represent cities in this region where immigrants are key. To have people live in fear like it is today is just unacceptable.
The raids ramping up nationwide. In Southern California, ICE agents chasing a farm worker through strawberry fields Tuesday morning. And in Omaha, Nebraska, the state's largest immigration sweep yet. Dozens arrested at a meat production plant. A group fighting back, climbing onto a law enforcement vehicle as it tries to leave. U.S. Marshals pushing them away. Dozens of workers were handcuffed with zip ties and taken away on a bus.
They just came in and said that it was a raid and we had to get everybody out of production.
And these images drawing stark criticism, pictures of armed National Guardsmen accompanying ICE agents as they conduct operations.
Now, the roughly 700 Marines deployed to the Los Angeles area by President Trump are said to have completed their training nearby. And, George, they're expected to be deployed onto the streets here within the next day or two. George.
Okay, Matt. All right. So that's one clip of the protest, right? And I want to show you guys something, right? Because they say that this is a peaceful protest. But this is actually proof and also shown of individuals vandalizing a federal building. I don't think that's peaceful.
I gotta ask, what's the point of doing that at this point? Like, what's the point of tagging? I'm just asking.
Hold up. There we go.
See, they've even tagged up the facade of this.
That's wild. Hold up. Let me get the clip. Here we go.
Look at this. Look, just keep going. I gotta ask, what's the point of doing that at this point? Like, what's the point of tagging? I'm just asking. No, I wanted to know because, you know, Old Vera Street. No, I'm asking. I'm not here to. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to ask. What's the point of it? I'm literally not here to judge you.
Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts on.
Get them the fuck out of our city. If they don't fucking stop, we're gonna continue. We'll burn it all down.
I know, but vandalism, what does it do?
We burn it all down. You don't understand, stupid?
No, I'm not trying to be stupid.
You are.
Well, how come?
I don't know, like.
No, but how come they're destroying the Mexican properties? The Mexican
property, bro.
Across the way at Old Vera Street.
I didn't do that. This is their property.
Well, you should tell people to stop destroying.
I never touched a small business ever.
Okay.
Never. Only government property. Thank you so much.
Got you. Fair enough.
Only government property.
I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm trying to ask. I'm like,
look at that federal building.
Burn it all down. I mean, that's a crime.
That is a crime.
If you burn it all down, you're going to go to prison for the rest of your life. You realize that? Like, the whole thing is like, you want to destroy everything. You're also going to destroy your own life. I'm not really understanding, like, you're to burn it all down. It means
they're protecting the building.
All down. There's a lot of great people here too. Kind of look at this. Just keep
that
going.
Is wow. So that don't look peaceful to me, family. That don't look peaceful to me. I'm gonna show you guys another clip, but I wanted to get my opinion so far. Look, man, while some people are genuinely outraged, others are clearly here to ignite chaos, right? We're seeing vandalism of federal buildings. You guys just seen it. Molotov cocktails thrown at police vehicles and attempts to bait law enforcement into violent responses. And worse, some city officials are actively telling police to stand down, like a Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, right? So let that sink in for a minute. Law enforcement being ordered not to stop the destruction of public property, sometimes even federal property, while the media spins the story as peaceful protests. You get where I'm going with this? So this isn't organic, it's coordinated disruption. And of course, I'll show you guys a clip in a minute after you check out this one. And if you're wondering why otherwise normal people will participate in something so extreme, the answer lies in the psychology of manipulation. That's where I'm going with it. Because protesters are being socially engineered. And I want to have a conversation, so I'm going to take a deeper dive into it because I really think this is important, that the battle of the mind is always, it's a thing. It's real, right? And it starts with emotional triggers, right? So think about this. Carefully edited videos stir up rage, often stripped of context, designed to provoke, chanting phrases over and over like no justice, no peace, like you guys saw it in the last clip. It reminds me of the Black Lives Matter protests when they tore up the city, creates the illusion of consensus. And it's not about truth, it's about repetition. Then comes mob mentality, right? Because when one person throws a rock, others follow. Fear of standing out, because stronger than fear of standing out, but the fear of standing out is stronger than the fear of consequences. You're destroying a federal building that is funded by taxpaying citizen dollars. So, and don't forget the simple fact is that we got the individuals that are provoking, right? There are people embedded in these crowds whose only job is to escalate. They light the first fire, break the first window, assault the first officer, and then suddenly protest becomes a riot. So the worst part is many of these actions are rewarded online. And people have, and with this day and age, people have made online their reality. Like we could go on Instagram, Facebook, someone posts a nice picture. We think that's their lifestyle, but really it's just a highlight reel of a moment. But that's how deep things can get, and that's how dangerous things can get. Now, however, when it comes to being in the United States, we are blessed with the freedom of speech. Doing it rightfully so, responsible, because you can say what you want and it's how you say it, but you can be responsible in saying whatever you want to say. Get your thoughts off because it'll really show who you are. But however, don't be surprised when whatever you're doing in regards of showing who you are follows up with consequences, and stand 10 toes behind those consequences, because if that's who you really are and that's what you want to do what you want to do when you want to do it. But just understand if it's something wrong, and in this case, violence and tearing down buildings and going at federal agents and stuff like that, you are going to be prosecuted, right? So violence going viral, chaos trending, the incentive isn't change. To me, it's just clout. It's just chasing popularity. And while the streets burn, another agency is fighting its own battle, and this time against criminals hiding in plain sight. So you got ICE, they rolling out across America with renewed force, trying to get rid of those who aren't supposed to be here. And they're telling the cities, Gavin Newsom is walking around saying, hey, ICE didn't let us know. They didn't call us to let us know that they were coming to our city. Well, they are, which we'll get to the clip in a minute, because they have even acknowledged ramping up, going after, ramping up these ICE raids across the country. But it don't do a service. It does a disservice for the ICE agents if you actually look at it, because these individuals are not cooperating with ICE, like a Gavin Newsom, like a Karen Bass, these sanctuary cities who don't want to follow the law, because the whole end game is consensus. They want to build another category of voters that are loyal to them, because the everyday citizen, even the legal migrants, are woke and waking up and understanding, like, look, hey, what is all this about? Why is inflation? Why are things so high? Why is gas prices so high? Why is food so high? It is because they're incentivizing illegal individuals to come over here that is disrespecting the country because they're over here illegally. But if we flip the script and we try to send an American person over there to Mexico, we ain't going to be able to go in Mexico without having our legal papers and going through their process out of respect to their country. So what's not the same expectation for America? And it's not fair to those who have actually legally came to America and done things the right way. That's a slap in the face and betrayal to them. So then we're not being fair to those who done it the right way as a country, United States. But anyway, check out this clip.
They're
on the SUV.
We just heard Homeland Security just banging on the door, and well, they just came in and said that it was a raid and we had to get everybody out of production. And I just went inside production and told everybody, hey, immigration is here, start running. So they just started hiding everywhere. And then they found everyone. They scanned my face. And they didn't took no fingerprints. So they scanned my face and then my information came out. I saw that.
Did they ask for ID?
Yeah, they did ask for an ID. I showed them my ID. And that's when they were putting these bracelets to identify you if you were a U.S. citizen or not. And then they did let me go.
Where are they from?
Honduras.
Are you worried about them being deported?
Oh, yeah.
Honduras?
Of course.
How long have they been here, do you know?
Like 3 years.
Okay. How long have you been
So
here?
they had 3 years to do it the right way. And they're at a meat production plant, and they just continue to be comfortable and just disrespecting the country by not doing things legally. Like I'm gonna keep using this example. If an American citizen if they drive their car and they don't have legal insurance, car insurance, they don't have their license renewed, their license up to date, they don't have their license up to date, they don't have their sticker on their car for inspection, and they don't have legal car insurance, they cannot drive that car. So if the standard is held for Americans in the country who actually are taxpayer citizens, because mind you, if they're not legal, 9 times out of 10 they're working under the table, right? So now it's a ripoff to the United States, because those who are paying taxes and working and getting taxes taken out of their check, and the everyday Joe in America working a butt off, these individuals are getting off by getting money on the low, which is making them so comfortable to stay here, because the simple fact is they're not putting into the system that they're getting things out of and benefiting from, like a welfare, right? Welfare, aka food stamps, welfare, aka Medicaid, healthcare, free healthcare, right? You know what I'm saying? This is not a left or a right thing for me. I'm pro-American. So that's how I look at things. But you have to call it what it is, and I'll call it what it is on both sides when it comes to the Republican or Democrat. You feel me? So just like, for example, I give you an example. I hold Trump accountable because he was been supposed to, with Ukraine and Putin. He was been supposed to. It was supposed to be peace. The war was supposed to be over. They were supposed to come to agreement. As soon as he got in office, he said he was going to do that, and he hasn't delivered on that. So I'm very, very objective for the most part. But I want you guys to see. I think I found another clip of this, because it goes deeper than that, of these individuals actually smashing this car in this Oklahoma meat plant. All right. And they were actually on top of the car. See, this Associated Press clip is only showing the cliff notes of it. But I seen the real clip online that I want to show you guys of these individuals really coming at these ICE agents, because this is what I mean when they show clips, and it can be very misleading, because their full text in its entirety is not being shown. It's actually being removed due to spreading an agenda, right? But I want you guys to see something. Let me see. I think this is the actual clip. Here we go. So I want you guys to check out this. And I want to show you guys another viewpoint of this situation, because this is the real situation of them being in the car. He's picking up a rock in the green hoodie. This is how disrespectful. This kid is wild. He's still throwing rocks. And this is what I mean by putting this a disservice for the ICE agents, because they're sitting here saying, hey, we're going to come here and we're just coming in the middle of your city, dude, to get illegals out that are not supposed to be here because they are illegal migrants. And this is what happens, because let's not forget, individuals are leaking locations where the ICE agents are going. And let's take it a step further. We even seen Dr. Phil out there. And remember, when Trump wanted to be transparent and let the media go along with the ICE agents to show the American people what's going on and not be hiding behind the scenes like the last administration, which was the Biden administration, only disclosing what they want to disclose. However, it's doing one thing and saying another thing. But Trump, being the most transparent president in history, was like, look, the media should go along because American people deserve to see what's really going on when it comes to these ICE agents, and actually regrouping all these illegals and getting them out of the country because they're not here illegal, and they just need to do it the right way. And he even offered another alternative where they can self-deport themselves and give them $1,000, and they can use the SVVP app or whatever app it was that the Biden administration had, where they were coming over here on the low, going to sanctuary cities like Chicago and New York and getting all these benefits and living in living in hotels that were being funded by the Democratic Party, Trump repurposed that same app and say, look, do yourself a favor, just self-deport. You'll still have an opportunity to come back to America the right way, and we'll pay you $1,000 to go ahead and go back to your country. Now, they didn't want that. The media was sitting there leaking locations where ICE agents was going to protect these illegal immigrants, so they had to stop the media transparency for the American people. So it's been a lot of, they're not on ICE agents' side is what I'm saying. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of issues that just commemorated against them every chance they get by just doing the right thing and following the law. Let's continue, because this is a plain demonstration in 4K or in HD of what's really going on and how these individuals, these ICE agents, are literally being attacked by just doing their job to enforce law and order.
Let's go! Let's go! Yeah, bitch, get the fuck out of here, pussy! Come on!
Wow.
Come on!
Filthy mouth, boy.
Pussy-ass bitches!
Disrespectful. The entitlement.
You don't fucking kill them! Oh, people's identity! People's identity! Hey, man, look!
This is them hopping back on the SUV.
Hey, let's just down! Hit me? You just fucking ran me off! What's your fucking... What's your shit? Oh, hell no! This is... Oh my god! Fuck you! No. You're not taking these people. You're not taking them. You're not taking your people. Don't touch me, bitch. Don't touch me. Get out of the way. Fuck you. Get out of the way. Okay, you know it. Let's go.
And they're trying to, and she's provoking them, and they're trying to protect her from not getting ran over. They're just trying to do their job. This is crazy.
Fucking Miguel!
He's taking the windshield off, the back windshield.
Make sure you record this.
Get back.
Record this.
Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back.
That was the key! Fucking Miguel! Fuck you guys! Fuck guys!
Yeah, he broke that.
Fuck you!
He broke this.
I'll break it more, bitch!
Which one?
I'll break it more, bitch! I'll break it more!
These kids is wild. Why he running?
Leave it. He didn't do nothing. Just leave it.
He didn't do nothing.
Get in.
Fuck you guys! Fuck you!
This is wild. But anyway, that's the full video in its entirety, family. It's getting wild in these streets. Now I want to show you guys.
Also,
ICE is ramping up. They're ramping up. Like I said, we was going to get to it. We was going to talk about it. I appreciate the 2 people watching me and rocking with me. And look, we're going to talk about it. Look, ICE raid increases through major cities. As we know, the sanctuary cities, we already heard Borders Our Time Home and said, look, you could keep trying to stop us when it comes to Chicago and Boston and all these sanctuary cities. But look, we just going to come more and more. Check it out.
Developing this morning, Mayor Brandon Johnson's team signaling that federal immigration tactical teams could arrive in Chicago as soon as today.
Their deployment comes as new protests are planned in the Loop and just days before a nationwide demonstration that could draw thousands. Our Darius Johnson is live near Grant Park with what we are learning about their arrival and the growing pushback. Good morning, Darius.
Hey there, Chris and Dana. Good morning to you both. Those same ICE tactical teams that we've really seen throughout the city of Los Angeles for days now could soon be right here in the city of Chicago in mini tanks and in riot gear targeting undocumented immigrants. Advocates and community leaders both say they are not waiting to respond. As a response to that, they are holding a press conference this morning and later on marching through the loop. Take a look. Chicago is one of 5 Democratic-led cities along with New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, and Atlanta expecting these tactical units. The city says it received 48 hours notice and operations could begin as soon as today. Their purpose would be to target the undocumented wherever that may be, including work. Just Tuesday, a 6-hour protest in the Loop ended with 17 arrests, 4 now facing felony charges. Here's what city leaders had to say in the last 24 hours about learning about ICE tactical teams arriving.
We have a tyrant in the White House who has a complete disregard for our Constitution. While federal immigration enforcement have jurisdiction, we want to continue to assure that all Chicagoans know their rights.
The Illinois Coalition for Immigration and Refugee Rights will hold a press conference at 9 o'clock this morning calling for ICE to stand down. Then at 4 o'clock, they will be taking their voices and their signs, whatever they may have, into the Loop where they will be marching. Again, that starts at 4 o'clock. This all comes as the city braces for the ICE tactical teams and also for that No King's Day protest that.
There you have it. So they have 48 hours of a notice from ICE that they were coming to Chicago. Proves my point, that's substantiating my point, that they do get notified because Gavin Newsom in California, oh, the ICE doesn't notify us when they're coming. They do. And like I said, it does ICE a disservice, but they do. They say, hey, we come here to do this, and this is what we're going to do. But check this out. ICE is being deployed in major cities.
Hi there and welcome to Meet the Press Now. I'm Ryan Nobles in Washington. As the White House warns of additional military deployments in American cities, with pockets of unrest persisting in Los Angeles, ICE preparing to deploy tactical units to major U.S. cities, and protests against the administration's immigration crackdown spreading across the country. At the White House today, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt doubled down on the president's harsh rhetoric.
The mob violence is being stomped out. The criminals responsible will be swiftly brought to justice. And the Trump administration's operations to arrest illegal aliens are continuing unabated. The position of the Democrat Party is that the federal government is not allowed to enforce our laws and to arrest and deport illegal alien criminals. They're attempting to use a violent mob as a weapon against their own constituents to prevent the enforcement of immigration law. This is deeply un-American and morally reprehensible.
Now, we should note there is no evidence that Democrats or any specific organization are behind the protests in Los Angeles or elsewhere. And as we've been noting, the pockets of unrest have so far been contained to a small area in downtown Los Angeles. But the comments came a day after President Trump, in front of thousands of soldiers at Fort Bragg, vowed to liberate Los Angeles from what he described as an invasion.
Under the Trump administration, this anarchy will not stand. We will not allow federal agents to be attacked, and we will not allow an American city to be invaded and conquered by a foreign enemy. I'll say it loudly and clearly. They better do something before it's too late. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again.
A defense official tells NBC News that 700 Marines are mobilized and in the Los Angeles area, but are not on the streets yet. But they could be sent out as early as today. A curfew ordered by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass will remain in effect for a second night tonight for portions of downtown. The LAPD says it made nearly 200 arrests yesterday, more than the total arrests made on the previous 3 days. In what the police...
All right. I think we got the gist of it, right? So, like I said, ICE is rolling out across America with renewed force, and they're coming to every city. Okay, the raids aren't random. They're targeted. They're focused on individuals with serious charges. But instead of support, ICE, like I said, is facing public resistance and even physical attacks. And in some cases, ICE officers are being pelted with rocks, as you guys seen, assaulted or forced to flee scenes where local police won't back them up. And yet, look, ICE isn't going after everyday workers. They're targeting criminals, many with records involving drug trafficking, gang violence, assault, and even child molestation. Um, and in sanctuary cities, some of these individuals are released back into the community instead of being held for deportation in the first place. And that's not compassion, that's negligence. And when federal law is ignored at a local level, we all as American people pay the price. We all pay the price in America. The rule of law erodes. Agents are forced into more dangerous situations. And worst of all, citizens lose faith in the very system meant to protect them, or systems, I should say. And this isn't just about immigration, it's about integrity, is where I'm getting at. Because when laws become optional, safety becomes impossible. So, what do you do in a time like this? Right? You got a time where aviation failures, civil unrest, and political gridlock. You live like every day could be your last. Not in fear, but with purpose. Check your flight, know your rights, question your sources, and if something feels off, speak up responsibly, the right way. You share it, investigate it, because staying quiet in a time of confusion only feeds the chaos. So don't be led, don't be herded, but be awake, is where I'm going at with this. And more than anything, be ready, right? And I think I had another clip, my last clip, when it came to individuals being paid. There has been investigation launched into a group accusing funding these riots with government grants. Yes, government grants. Mind blowing to me.
Days of this intense movement. After days of this intense movement, many people, including President Trump, are wondering who's supporting some of these rioters. Senior national correspondent William LaJeunesse is in Los Angeles with that aspect of the story. And look, William, if people just thought, oh, maybe that's imagination, there's video. There are receipts for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the money's got to come from somewhere, right? I mean, sure, it's hard to turn out several thousand people on any given night. And so you're going to have the water, the riot gear, the coordination to get out all these demonstrators. You have criminals, you have professional agitators, and activists who support a variety of left-wing issues, and they'll take any opportunity to bash the administration. So one group behind the demonstrations is CHIRLA, Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. The IRS documents show $34 million in government grants, including 3 from President Biden's DHS for $750 grand. President Trump cut that off. It also gets state and city grant money for lawyers to fight deportations. CHIRLA spends $10 million a year on salaries, including $200,000 for the director, Angelica Salas.
So we are asking that everybody that got arrested today be released. That's right. We want them in their houses with their families, with their children.
CHIRLA also founded the Rapid Response Network. That's the hotline immigrants use to report ICE raids. It will then text these alerts.
How anti-American is that? They have a hotline to report ICE raids, to report law and order that's being enforced for someone breaking the law. They have a hotline to help individuals and condone and not following the law, giving them support to break the law even more. Because the longer they stay, to be honest, the more they're breaking the law. It's common sense, right? But it brings me to this thing where that's why we as people have to be careful about these nonprofits. Because these nonprofits, well, once they get the funds, they do whatever with the funds, but they'll make it in a transcript, or they'll transcribe it, acting like they're being transparent to the American people, only showing you what they want to show you, but then on the back end, they're doing things like this. So they have a whole program basically using taxpayer dollars or trusting individuals, or individuals are trusting them with the core values within they have sold to the American people of what they are initiating this whole program for, or this nonprofit for, and the sole purpose of it got American people believing in it, sold them a pitch. American person got bought. They put money into the funding, and then they do these things in regards of utilizing that funding to do the most anti-American thing ever. Does that even make sense? Am I tripping here? That's just mind blowing to me. You got to be careful who you donate to. You got to be careful who you're giving your money to. Look at Kamala Harris. All that funding, she got all that endorsements, all of that. She spent millions paying Beyonce, paying L. Sharpton, paying all these performers, but not speaking on nothing in regards of the American people as much. Just winging it and making it like it's an entertainment show of a campaign rather than actually be invested in American people who are going to elect you as a public official, trusting that you will be their best interest. That's how far we have gone, to the point where American people are being robbed by the officials that they trust, and these nonprofits that they trust will uphold the standard that they sold to them to only jeopardize the trust of the American people and the American person who trusted in their foundation, who donated it. But let's continue.
So immigrants can go hide and activists can stop ICE operations.
That is crazy.
And so I was in a room yesterday morning, meeting with the immigrant rights organizations, and all of a sudden everybody's cell phones started blowing up. That's when we all heard about a raid that was taking place in Whittier.
So another organizer is SEIU. You see the purple there. They have 700,000 members. The union turns out big numbers. Others are simply there to bash capitalism.
We are the real workers. The working class is the one that builds this country. Yet it's the billionaires in power that continue to harass us and attack us and take absolutely everything from us.
Operation Healthy Hearts, according to the New York Post, handed out face shields and riot gear to protesters. Now, their kits include a lawyer's phone number to get out of jail. And some of these groups could face...
Hold on. You got a lawyer phone number. You got riot shields. That is wild. And then she's talking about, oh, the billionaires are harassing people. How the billionaires harassing people that have been doing something that's illegal? How can a billionaire harass? Just listen to that. Billionaires are harassing people. How can billionaires harass people when they put this on themselves by coming to the country illegally? That don't even make sense. Just listen to what they say. And then some people may say on the Democratic side, because I spoke to some Democrats, oh, they're seeking asylum. They're not seeking asylum. They've been in this country for years. 20 plus 3 years, 20 years, 25 years. Have decades to fill out their paperwork and do the right thing and follow the law according to the United States of America standards, and coming over here legally. Not seeking asylum. They're not seeking asylum. Because asylum, and then they'll say, oh, well, they deserve due process. Well, seeking asylum and due process is not the same thing. And you don't get due process when you come to a country illegally. That's only afforded to those who are legal, the American citizen. And if you're seeking asylum, I'll give you an example. The over there in Africa or Haiti or whatever the case may be, the white farmers that Donald Trump is who saved, that are being basically killed and taken over, and they're getting their farmland taken from them. Now that's seeking asylum. Attack on a certain race for the benefit of another race, or the attack of a certain race for the benefit of whatever country that they're in, and they're running to safety to be saved. But then put it like this: if they're seeking asylum, and then I'll give you another example. If they're seeking asylum, right? Because we having a conversation, and they come to America and they critique everything about America and say, "Oh, billionaires are harassing us." Well, then go make your country great, right? Let's take it a step further. Go make your country great. If you're seeking asylum, I'll give you another instance. If you're seeking asylum, then why these individuals make money and pocket off the benefits of America coming over here illegally, which is disrespectful to America because they're not following the law. But they come over here, they get money, they raise revenue, and then they send it back to their country off the benefit of the backs of the American people, while robbing the American people because they're not paying taxes. They're not a tax-paying citizen. On top of it, getting paid under the table to send it back to their country to have luxury living because we know the value of the money that's in America is way more in their country. They have mansions and everything. So why would you send money somewhere you're seeking asylum from to go back and live there eventually as the end game after you done benefited from another country? That don't even make no sense. Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense to me. So it's just mind-blowing to me. So I wanted you guys to see that there's a group that is being funded. I mean, there's a group funding these riots, right? And these riots, they're anti-American. However, hopefully I can find it on TikTok. There was a man who actually exposed the group that's funding the riot. Let me see if I can look it up. Let me see. Where is he at? Riots. It was something like they were paying $200 a day. Because I'm like, don't these people have jobs? How are they surviving? They're so busy out here rioting. Then how they have the time to riot or protest, aka protest, whatever they want to call it? How you surviving? Don't you got bills? Don't you got kids? Don't you got a family? Don't you got, like, come on, man. Check this out, because this is my man Anton Davis.
I just got offered $200 a day to go protest ICE in New York. The organization was called No Kings. They said June 14th we're going to be protesting, and these are the streets that you need to be on, and this is what you need to do. You need to cause chaotic disruptions, and they said that there's going to be pallets of like bricks and different things everywhere that protesters could use. They really want to wreak havoc. It's kind of ridiculous. Me as an American, although I need the money, I'm like, this is very, very unpatriotic. If I was to go take this money and go protest, it's not very American. It's not what I stand for. It's obviously not even, worth the time. But, $200 a day is what they're paying people to go protest. The corruption is up here because it goes way beyond these organizations. They want to destroy America, and people like me that need money are gonna go do it. I'm not gonna go do it, but people are gonna go do it. They're gonna go destroy, the city and cause chaos. It's just crazy that, they're even paying people to go do this. It just goes.
That is wild. $200 a day. 200. Let me see if I can find the original clip. $200 a day to protest ICE. This is a guy. That is wow. If I ever upload.
I just got offered 200 that you need to be on, and this is what you need to do. You need to cause chaotic disruptions, and they said that there's going to be pallets of like bricks and different things everywhere that protesters could use. They really want to wreak havoc. It's kind of ridiculous. Me as an American, although I need the money, I'm like, this is very, very unpatriotic. If I was to go take this money and go protest, it's not very American. It's not what I stand for. It's obviously not even, worth the time. But, $200 a day is what they're paying people to go protest. The corruption is up here because it goes way beyond these organizations. They want to destroy America, and people like me that need money are gonna go do it. I'm not gonna go do it, but people are gonna go do it. They're gonna go destroy, the city and cause chaos. it's just crazy that, you know, they're even paying people to go do this. It just goes to show that everything we deal with is corruption, and these people at the top level, like, who's paying for this? There's got to be some billionaires paying for this so that, you know, they could try to get Trump out or something. But, you know, $200 a day to go cause chaos is, like, crazy. Not worth it, but also, like, really fucked up. I just got all
right, there you have it, family. $200 a day. So, look, before we close out, I just want to say let's take a moment to acknowledge the families affected by the Air India crash that I had covered in the first segment of the show. No words can undo that kind of loss, but we can honor their memory by refusing to stay silent about the cracks we see in aviation, in society, and the systems we're supposed to trust. And we covered a lot in this video, and none of it was light. You know, from increasing plane crashes to paid protesters and rising street chaos, to ICE raids and the battle between federal law and local politics. The truth is, we're living in a time where what's real and what's presented to us aren't always the same. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys got some value from this show. And like it up. If it opened your eyes to make you think differently. As always, we're just here to have a conversation. And drop a comment, man. What's happening in your city? Have you seen signs of what we talked about? Your stories matter always. And if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. We go deep on things that get swept under the rug, because we deserve the full picture. You deserve the full picture, not just a curated headline. We're not here to fearmonger. We're here to speak truth, expose patterns, and help think critically in a time where things becoming more rare, if that makes sense, and more powerful. So until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and remember, the most dangerous thing you can do in times like this is nothing at all. And I know, family. Hope you guys enjoy it. Peace.